Are you ready to have your website get found by the right people? Are you looking to rank at the top of Google so you get more traffic to your website? Are you ready to learn how to use SEO and content marketing to grow your organic traffic? If so, you are in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the Simple SEO Content Podcast. Hi, and welcome back to the Simple SEO Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Lindhagen, and I am so excited to have you here with me today because today we're talking about something new. It's still SEO, search engine optimization, but it's a new type of SEO. And I am so excited to share this with you. So if you are a podcaster or you are thinking you might want to start a podcast, be sure to listen to today's episode. Even if you're not thinking you want to start a podcast yet, I would highly recommend you listen to today's episode because podcasting is huge. It's going to continue to grow, and it is an amazing way to connect with your audience. And thanks to podcast SEO, it is easier and faster to connect with your audience than on Google. I know, I hate to admit that, but you guys, did you even know that podcast SEO, podcast search engine optimization, was a thing? It was something that you can do. It is, and it is powerful, and it works faster. And in my opinion, it's a lot easier than Google SEO. And I know I tell you Google SEO is easy if you have someone who understands how to do it to teach it to you, because it truly is. But this is easier and faster. So let's dive in. So obviously I have a podcast. You're listening to it. You may have been here long term, or you may have found me in the last few months thanks to podcast SEO or podcast search engine optimization. So when we're podcasting, when we first start out or when we're doing it, we sometimes struggle to build an audience. Has anyone experienced that? Do you feel like you're kind of frustrated? You're stuck at 30 or 40 downloads per episode. You get to the point where you wonder if it's even worth putting out another episode because the reality is it's not growing. It feels like it's a giant waste of time. It's a frustration. Sometimes you get the bill from Buzzsprout or whoever your podcast platform is, and you kind of feel a little shame of, I didn't even release an episode this month and I'm still paying. It doesn't have to be this way. I know that most podcasts, like on average, the average podcast gets around 30 downloads per episode. So if you're in that 30, 40, 50 range, don't feel bad. Don't penalize yourself. Don't feel demoralized. The reality is you're average. You're getting similar to what other people get. We also hear that most podcasts don't make it past episode number 10. So if you can find a way to grow consistently, you can really set yourself apart and really be able to have a great spot in your niche from a podcasting standpoint. And podcasting can help you with your Google SEO if you do it the way that I'm going to be teaching you in the new podcast SEO course that I'm working on. I'll be releasing it very, very soon. I'm going to teach you how to use your podcast to also help you with your Google SEO, because we're going to get a quicker win from our podcast SEO than we will from Google. But in the end, we're going to use both of them together to drive additional organic traffic to your business, whether it be from your website, from Google, or through the podcast apps. So let's talk about this. It can change. You can increase your downloads. You can build that podcast that you dream of, where you can really truly connect with your listeners, and you can get leads and generate sales right from your podcast. It can be monetized long before you get to thousands of downloads. You don't need to have a huge audience to have a podcast that makes money for you. You don't need to get sponsors to make money from a podcast. You can make money by sharing about your products or your services on your podcast. And you would be surprised how well you can do with a small audience because it's a little more intimate. People hear your voice. If you're recording in video and they're watching on YouTube, you see the face, you see the expressions, all of that. It helps build that like, know, and trust factor for you. So if you've been podcasting for a while, let's just say you've got a podcast, you've been doing it for a year. Maybe you're not the most consistent because you're kind of stuck in that. I'm getting 30, I'm getting 40, I'm getting 50. I'm just not getting many downloads. And so it's frustrating. I want you to understand that there is a huge opportunity for you if you learn about podcast SEO, and I will be teaching about it very, very soon. I'm putting the final touches on the class right now. What we're going to do is really look at how do we work with the podcast search engines to make your show more discoverable. So we're going to work with SEO keywords, and we're going to make some edits, and we're going to look at your show name and your images. We're going to look at your episodes and your titles and what type content do you create. For now, what I want you to do is to commit to releasing your podcast episodes on a more regular basis if you're not doing that today. So whether you're doing once a week, twice a month, once a month, whatever it is, I want you to commit to being consistent. With podcasting, we want to end up in someone's routine and their flow and their habits. So when we're consistent and we show up every Tuesday, like this podcast comes out usually every Tuesday, and it's there and it's waiting for you, and you get an email reminder about it, and it's here for you. When you do that, you allow yourself to be part of someone's routine and schedule and week. So by doing that, it makes it easier. So what I want you to do for now while you're getting ready is to commit to releasing one episode a week or every other week and get into that cadence and get ready for it. Simple podcast SEO is going to teach you what type of episodes to create and how long they should be. And then we're going to talk about like how we do the actual optimization on your show and the optimization on your episode titles. And the great thing is, if you have an existing podcast that's not gotten a whole lot of downloads, you can go back and fix things retroactively and get traffic for episodes that you released 6 months or a year ago or longer than that, just by doing the SEO on them. So for today's episode, I just wanted to put it out there and make sure you're aware. SEO, search engine optimization, is possible to be done on your podcast. It's easier and faster than doing it on Google. It works fantastically well. I've been doing it on my podcast, and I have 5x'd my downloads in the past 6 months. So I was initially able to double, triple. Now we're at 5 times the downloads. It doesn't have to be a huge podcast. I'm not a top 0.5% podcaster by any means, but my podcast is connecting with the right people, and I'm getting leads, and I'm getting new students coming in, and I love it. And that's what I want for you as well. So I'm going to be teaching you all about this. For today, what I want you to do is understand, oh my gosh, this is here. If you've got a podcast, or you're getting ready to create a podcast, or you want to launch a podcast, I'm going to walk you through how to do it. And then I'm going to teach you all about how to optimize it in the new Simple Podcast SEO course. For today, download my podcast growth plan. It's on the freebies tab at the website. It's etchedmarketing.com/freebies. Get the free podcast growth plan. That'll get you started. It'll walk you through how all of this works and what you can do. There are things we're going to do to optimize your show. We're going to optimize your episodes. We're going to maybe go back and do some updates on some of the old stuff you have. We're going to talk about keywords. And then we're going to talk about your show notes, because we're going to use your show notes to optimize your website for Google. And we're going to get the Google traffic coming in to also help boost your show and to grow your show by having them come in and find you through Google. So we're going to get your business going in multiple channels. We're going to get that podcast going, get those downloads going, and then we're also going to get it going in Google. There's so much goodness, you guys, and I cannot wait to dig into all of this with you and start teaching you and going through it because I have seen the power of podcast SEO. You know, I've done Google SEO for 15 years. I know it inside and out. I love this new genre just because podcast SEO, I feel like, is a really great starting point for you. It's easy. It's quick. The class is shorter. It's less expensive than the full simple SEO content class. Like, you are going to learn so much. And then you're going to be excited, hopefully, to work on your Google SEO as well, because we're going to get multiple marketing channels going for you this year because we don't want to ever rely on just one. So we want to have the website. We want to have the podcast. We also are going to want to build an email list. We're going to work on all of that this coming year. All right. For today, your homework is to download the podcast growth plan at etchedmarketing.com/freebies. That'll get you on the list. And then as soon as the podcast training class is ready and the course is open for an enrollment, you'll learn about that as well. I cannot wait to share this class with you. It is amazing. And I can't wait for you to see the results that are possible by using podcast SEO, because my mind was blown by how quick and easy it was and how fast, my mind was blown. After being used to the long-term investment of Google SEO, this is amazing. So stay tuned. I will be in touch. That is it for this week. I will see you back here next week. But for now, go get the podcast growth plan. Get on that list. You will learn all about the course as soon as it's ready for enrollment, which should be momentarily. All right. Bye for now. That's all for today's episode of the Simple SEO Content Podcast. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you visit my website, etchedmarketing.com, and visit the freebies tab. Right there, you're going to find the SEO Content Quick Start Guide along with the free SEO class. So you'll have everything you need to know to get started with SEO and content marketing. Then do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, if you would do a rating and a review of this podcast on your favorite platform. That would really help spread the message, and I do greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram at Etched Marketing Academy, and I will see you right back here next week.